Pre-stream note that I wanted to add after I reached the conclusion of the video you're about to watch. I saw that my last video had over 100 views, which was really exciting. I don't know why the third view popped off. The first views still have under 30 views apiece. I think the one is like 11 views. So I don't know why the third one popped off. I don't know if people are actually interested in this or the algorithm went crazy or what. But if you guys like these videos, your encouragement is definitely appreciated. Like the videos, subscribe, send me an email saying what you like, what you find interesting, what you hated, what what I suck at, and what I can do better. Because I want these to be interesting. I want people to enjoy them. I want people to get value out of them. And link to my store is also in the description. So thanks for watching. Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, aka Virtual Reality today. We are not in my garage. We are looking at the back-end software that I use for some financial analysis on per item sales. Anyway, I'm Ron with 41 Trading. If this is your first video, we do reselling. We focus on collectibles, antiques, militaria, but we'll resell just about anything that has value. This is the first video I've done where I kind of review what's sold, and I'd like to do it on a weekly basis, but today I'm going back 2 weeks, and I have about 10 to 15 items that are of particular interest that sold over the last 2 weeks. So getting into that, I said this is the backend software I use. It's one of them. I use this mainly for per item analysis. I have another software system which is kind of annoying having to run two systems. But the other system is better for tax purposes, and it's not good for financial analysis on an item by item basis because it doesn't match things like direct expenses with revenues, right? If you know accounting, you want to follow the matching principle. So to me, if a sale comes with eBay fees, which every sale on eBay is going to have an eBay fee, you should include that eBay fee, that commission, in calculating your profit margin on an item. But the other system doesn't do that. When you do taxes, though, it's all in aggregate and it doesn't really matter. So I use that system for taxes. This system is great for looking at things on an item by item basis. And word of caution, you don't want to get too tripped up by how much money am I making and, you know, setting, anchoring on a profit margin per item and like sitting in the store and like running, through numbers with your calculator on your phone. Like that's just not worth it. Sometimes you just need to take the risk on it and just learn after the fact with a good financial analysis tool and be like, oh, okay, I messed up on that. Uh, charge it to the game and move on and learn from it. Anyway, can't think of anything else to add, and I don't want to ramble, so let's just get into some of the things that have sold the last 2 weeks. I just pulled out things that, first I sorted by ROI and pulled out all the things with high ROIs. Then I sorted by net profit dollars, pulled out some of the things with high dollars. Since not everything has an ROI, if you assign zero cost to something, ROI is infinite. So there's a mix of things here, and some of them, regardless of the financial metrics, are just really interesting things. First thing here is a ROI highlight. 1,448% return on investment. If you're familiar with I'd buy that for $1 videos, this I literally bought for $1. These are just some cotton trousers, 34 by 32s, navy issue, and they sold really fast. They sold in 3 days. I got these at a garage sale for $1. I have a second pair. I think that's currently listed. Actually, it's not. I need to go do that. Sold for $30.42, so $20 plus $10 shipping. I always do calculated shipping, and I try to do everything that's clothing with, make an offer. If customers want to make an offer, And you know, I think ultimately that's probably the way to go. I don't see changing that. I could maybe kind of A/B test that with some listings, try some things that are just fixed price, no offers allowed. But I don't want to get caught up with having things sitting around and not selling. I'd rather have that option for somebody, if they're interested, to click the button, make an offer, and then you can set a minimum. So you filter out the low ballers. And, when you have, when you're buying things right, when you pay $1 for it, it's practically free. Let somebody make an offer, sell this for 15 bucks instead of 20. And at the end of the day, you should be making money on shipping too. So I think this cost to ship, okay, so cost to ship this was fully priced, but if you're overestimating a little bit on your shipping weights, the calculated shipping is going to be higher than what it costs you to ship. So that gives you some more flexibility too on making offers because you know you're going to be making a couple bucks on shipping. Um, well, maybe we'll see another example of that where cost to ship was less than what was actually received for shipping. So yeah, simple flip. Uh, this was really interesting. Minecraft Story Mode sealed. Got this at an auction in a box of Xbox One, PS4 games with a couple consoles. It was a pretty expensive buy. I kind of think I messed up overall until I get to this, and I should probably go back and look at the whole buy in aggregate. I think I paid like 130, 140 for everything, and then the Xbox consoles ended up not having power cables. The controllers ended up not having the case on the battery compartment. So I got to look through and figure out what I can even get for that stuff. But the games ended up being good. Sold some of the games to a game shop for just $2 a piece, which lost a little bit of money on. I think the average cost on the games was $3.79. Could still end up making up on all of that. Um, but anyway, this game, the story on this game, why is this game so friggin' expensive? Why are people willing to pay almost 50 bucks for this? Because the only way to play this game is to have a physical copy. I mean, there are ways. There are ways, dude. If you are a pirate, you can figure out how to play this game. Not necessarily on an Xbox console, but if you are okay playing it on PC, there are ways. Otherwise, the only way is to buy a physical disc for Xbox One, and that there are still downloads available from the developer, so you can get season 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the rest of the story. And so people pay a ton of money because there's fixed supply. They're not making this. I think the developer went out of business, whatever, ended the print run. There's no more. So 825% ROI. Yep, each game average was 379, like I was thinking. And that was a really lucky flip from that auction buy. These just sold today. It took about a month to sell. When did I buy these? Okay, I don't remember. Okay, I do remember now. I got this in a lot. So the other thing that I wanted out of this lot was chocolate chip BDU shirt. That still hasn't sold, funnily enough. This was the first thing to sell, and made 12 bucks on it on a $3 investment. So that was really nice. Easy to ship, throw it in a poly bag. This is actually a dual sale, so I sold both of these to one customer, and I did a deal on shipping. These are writing hats. I don't know exactly what the demand was for both of these hats, but this person wanted both, and I had to ship two packages, two shipping labels, because they went in the original hat boxes. And to avoid a huge penalty of, you could strap both the boxes together, I guess, but you're going to get hit with a dimensional uh, penalty, because the dimensions, the length, width, depth would just be outrageous. But I said, okay, 18 bucks to ship. I can do a $15 discount. So you're just paying $3 for packaging and handling. And they said, sure. And so is there a way to look? You can't look at combined on this, but yeah, got these $10 a piece. Had an estate sale. Ended up making about 25 on each one. So 2.4 times, 2.5 times the investment. It was a pretty nice little flip. Sold really fast, which was nice. Time to sell about a month. I could tell they were going to sell relatively quickly just because of the number of views they had received in the last 30 days. Was really lucky to find somebody that wanted both of them. So this is a set of 3 things that have sold over the past couple weeks. And yes, I am a dirty scalper. I sold these check lane boosters of Pokemon cards on TCGplayer. You can't integrate TCGplayer into Flipwise, but you can add off-channel sales manually to get an analysis on these. And I bought these for what did I pay for these? 13. Was this for 2? This was for 1. I purchased this for $13.98. The others. Okay, so these were slightly different. I don't remember what the difference was. But yeah, you can flip Pokemon cards. It's easy. Bought these at Target, waited, and eventually they sold. And you can see here, this is what it actually was. At least these two, the Cinderace. This is what sold. You get 1 pack and a foil promo card and this coin. I think this one was a 3-pack of cards. Anyway, as you can see, they're now sold out. I had one of the last ones listed, last 2 listed, and they're the last ones to have sold still. Probably could have, if I'd been paying attention or been a level 4 seller with the ability to adjust prices in more real time, probably could have gotten a little bit more for those. But in any case, yeah, flipping Pokemon cards. Why not? This is really cool. This is a piece of medical equipment got at an auction. They were doing a medical office liquidation. Apparently, you could just tell by all the things that were up for auction. There was a bigger item. There was like a $3,000 machine that I was sitting there trying to snipe it, and the way the website worked, as lots close, everything shifts in the tile, right? It's a tile setup where you have, like a 4 by 5 tiles of each lot. And so as a tile closes, it disappears and everything shifts. And the thing before the $3,000 machine closed, like 2 seconds before, and I clicked, but the $3,000 machine moved and I didn't click the bid on that $3,000 machine and I lost it and it closed. Kind of glad, because if I had messed up on that buy, that's a really expensive mistake. And I learned some things from this sale, and also from some other things that I picked up at the thrift shop. So CPAP supplies are actually highly regulated, especially by eBay. They self-police that because some of them are prescription only. Why? I don't know. It's plastic and rubber for the most part. So a lot of people try to get it in under like air conditioning supplies and hoses and things like that. I tried that. I just went because that's how I started. I went to somebody who had a listing and I just started and was like, sell one like this. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. Why is it under AC supplies? Whatever. Mine got taken down, and I was informed and educated by eBay, thankfully, that this was an RX item and I couldn't sell it. Why the other person's was allowed to be up there, I don't know. Anyway, this, you would think a hemoglobin analyzer, blood analyzer, would be highly regulated. And I was a little bit nervous looking at some of the labels on the bottom But no, you can sell these no problem. There's a bunch listed and a bunch sold over the last 90 days. The only thing you have to do is confirm that the buyer has a medical license or an NPI number, and nobody actually checks up on that with you. You just have to have it in case somebody does ever check up on you, I suppose. But you just put in the listing that, yes, I'll check, and eBay never actually comes back and checks with you to see that you actually checked. I did check because it's a relatively easy thing to do, and it's not worth losing your business over something so silly. So, um, yeah, it's a blood machine. I got this for 50 bucks. Sold it for, agreed to sell it for 140. For some reason, eBay still charged them 150. So I ended up giving them a $10 refund. Also had a PDF of the owner's manual, operator's manual, and I was able to get that to them. It was kind of difficult to find. I had to spend 5 or 10 minutes finding the PDF. A lot of them were paywalled on like Scribd or something like that. And I was able to find one from 2016 revision date, and for the most part, probably still useful to the buyer. The buyer was happy to get that, and it sold really quick. Sold in under 2 weeks. I tried to price it towards the bottom of the market at 150. I really wasn't gonna take anything less, but I accidentally left best offer open, and I felt like I should honor that. So yeah, that was a pretty nice 1.3x. Made 65 bucks on it. Would love to do more stuff like this, especially now that I know more about what to look for in terms of what's regulated. This took a little bit of time to sell. I was a little bit surprised it took as long time to sell as it did. I ascribed zero cost to this because I got this in a huge box of model train accessories. These are for setting up the landscapes, the little towns. You got the little depots and warehouses and yards and stuff, and you want to fill them with things that look like activity. Cars, trucks, people, etc. And there was just so much stuff in this box, it was just silly to try to ascribe a cost to it. So all of the costs were ascribed to the bigger, easier things to sell, pieces of track, etc. But this, you know, sold for almost 40 bucks for two of them. Made 20 bucks on it after shipping and fees. This stuff is great. I love this model railroad stuff. I hope I can find more of it. This was an odd one. This is probably the kind of thing you'd even see in a thrift store and you just pass it because who the heck would want that? And if it's in a thrift store, right, your numbers are probably going to be a little bit worse unless you can find it for $1 or $2. Mine was essentially free. Again, same situation as the trains. Got it at an estate sale in a box full of stuff, and I wanted the other stuff. And surprisingly, this was one of the, well, this was probably the fourth or fifth thing to sell. Some police jackets actually sold first, but this sold for 20 bucks plus shipping. Made 17 bucks net on it for junk that I didn't even really want. But like I've said before, just don't pick out the things that you want because you think they're going to sell. Help guys doing estate sales by taking tons of stuff, and they give you good deals on stuff. What is this? It's a car charging sleeve. So Streamlight flashlights, some of them, whatever model, this SL20X model Streamlight flashlight, they're rechargeable. I believe they're usually used by police, first responders who need a flashlight in their car that they don't have to worry about batteries, and then they can just take it out of the charger and take it with them. And this is this will mount in your car on the center console or whatever. So there was no flashlight with it. It was just the charger. But say yours breaks or whatever, you need one, you go buy one for 20 bucks on eBay. Another TCG player sale. I got this. This has zero cost because I got it for free from Whatnot in a giveaway, which is amazing. It's a $30 item that I got for free. almost didn't get it because USPS marked it delivered on Wednesday and then it didn't show up until Monday. Why that happened, we have no idea. I looked at the video cameras, the security camera footage at the UPS store. USPS wasn't even there. They weren't in the building at the time that they marked it delivered. So don't know what happened on that. Was really happy to eventually get it. Sold it on TCGplayer. Are there any? Yeah, there's still some for sale here. Not a lot of listings. Doesn't look like there's much chance for it to pop, right? There's lots of liquidity. Uh, I guess if you sell through 12 listings or whatever, 10, 11 listings, it'll pop up to over 40 bucks. But um, anyway, the point on that is just if you're looking for things that might rise in value in the near term, you want to look for things with a small order book. It's just a side note on speculating on Pokemon products. Let's see, another thing that came in the box of model railroad stuff, assigned zero cost. Somebody wanted one for 20 bucks. They bought two. Did they buy two? No, so I still have one available. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just pure money. Made 17 bucks on that. This sold very recently. Got this at auction in a box of maybe 20 microphones. This one sold in 20 hours. This was the only one with this particular port, what you would call this connector. It's 4 prongs. It looks like a CB, like it might even work for a CB radio, which is probably why it moves faster and is in demand because it has more applications. The other Motorola mics, they were like a Ethernet Cat5 looking cable or some sort of proprietary Motorola connector. And I got them all up for 10 bucks. So I think they'll sell eventually to the right buyer. It's just going to be slow. So that's it. That's everything of note that's sold in the last 2 weeks. On this, yeah. So what did I price it for? Priced it a little bit higher. Priced this mic at $15.99 because comps were going for higher because it has a broader application because of the port, and made 15 bucks on it. Not gonna make much on the other mics, but well, I mean, you sell the others for 5 bucks cheaper, you'll still make 10 bucks on a mic. So I think those mics are going to be a good buy, and hopefully we'll see some more in the next videos like this. So yeah, that's what's sold in the last 2 weeks, and sales seem to be going pretty quick because I've been listing a lot, and that's kind of key. If you don't have stuff listed for sale, you're not going to sell things. The more you have listed, the more sales you're going to make because as long as you have a wider variety of stuff, right? The bigger variety, the better chance you're going to hit the buyer that comes along that week looking for something. So, hope this was interesting. Hope you learned something from it, or just were able to kill 20 minutes watching something interesting. Yeah, see you guys next time.